One of the most anticipated new coffee products on the market in 2020 was the Ode Brew Grinder from Fellow Products. Is it worth the $299 price tag for a home grinder? That's what we're going to find out. I'm Eric. This is the Mug Life. I didn't choose the Mug Life. The Mug Life chose me. Just wanted to insert this here. We are doing a super fun giveaway for the Mug Life. You can see we got a cool new logo designed by Nick Stoiku. A little cup mug with Thug Life glasses on, and some great t-shirts that we've designed, and we'd love to get them into your hands. So if you subscribe to our channel through the month of March 2021, we will do a drawing at the end of the month and give away a couple of free t-shirts. I said a couple of free t-shirts. So hit the subscribe button and also make sure you hit that notification button so you can get new notifications every time there's something that we post that'll help you brew coffee people love. Thanks. Our 4 coffee brewing basics. Number 2 is grind fresh. There are a lot of good home coffee grinders on the market, but the Fellow Ode Brew Grinder has made a big splash. It launched on Kickstarter last year and raised over $1.2 million and had almost 5,000 backers. So they quickly sold out on the first run. Fellow Products is well known for producing beautiful and functional coffee brewing gear for home, as well as for the cafe, and the Ode Brew Grinder is absolutely no exception. First, an overview of the grinder. It is listed on the Fellow Products site as the Ode Brew Grinder. Keyword there is brew. They are very clear that this is not an espresso or even a mocha pot grinder. It is intended for drip, pour over, AeroPress, French press, and even cold brew. James Hoffman did a much more in-depth review of the burr set that Fellow chose and why that affects the brewing methods you can use. We will link to that video in the description down below. The machine itself is small, but it's hefty. It weighs in at just over 4.5 kilograms. That's 10 pounds in the US. So it's solid on the counter. It's a single dose grinder. There is essentially no hopper, at least nothing to hold a full bag of beans. The hopper holds just 80 grams of coffee. So if you're using this, you're measuring out your coffee beans every time you brew. It comes with a nice little multi-purpose measuring cup / grounds bin. It even has markings on the inside so you can measure your coffee by volume instead of by weight. Whoops. The grounds bin also magnetically pops into place under the grinder, which is kind of a nice little feature as well. Has a really nice feel to it. As for grind adjustments, there are 31 steps on the front. It is a stepped adjustment, not a continuous adjustment. And on the inside of the hopper lid, there's a diagram giving you an indication of approximately where to set the grinder for different brewing methods. A couple of things I do find interesting about this. First of all, there's no AeroPress listed, but instead there's Prismo, which is another Fellow product. So well done there, Fellow Products. Also, it has a setting for cupping. That's interesting to me because it indicates to me that the folks at Fellow are thinking, and as a result, engineering this grinder for use in a more professional environment like a roastery or a cafe, rather than exclusively for home use. So the start-stop button is on the front of the coffee, and Fellow has engineered it to sense when the grounds hopper is empty and automatically turn itself off. That is a super nice feature. On the inside, there are 64 millimeter steel burrs, which are huge burrs for a home grinder. And lastly, there's a grounds knocker on the side so that you can make sure all of the grounds are cleared out of the bin completely. I personally did not hop on the Kickstarter bandwagon for this. I ordered mine in January of 2021 and just got it a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure if there are any changes from the Kickstarter version of the grinder, and to be perfectly honest, I haven't asked Fellow Products about that. So the grinder I'm reviewing today may be slightly different if you were one of the people, one of the early adopters. Then again, it might be exactly the same. I don't know. I haven't asked. So couple of notes about it. Number one, this thing is fast. 64 millimeter burrs are huge for a grinder, and compared to conical burrs, there is a lot more surface area there to grind the coffee very quickly. The auto shutoff feature is super nice. I have noticed a couple of times one or two beans get stuck in the hopper, but that's to me not a huge deal at all. Certainly not enough to be concerned about. Some people might be turned off by the fact that it is, the hopper is so small, let's say non-existent hopper. To me, that doesn't really bother me. I have always measured out my coffee ahead of time every time that I've brewed. Between the small hopper and the auto shutoff feature, Fellow has very intentionally engineered the Ode Grinder to have you measure every time that you brew. The grind itself seems to be very, very even. I'll probably do a comparison with some other home grinders in the future and put the results up on our Instagram page. But just looking at the actual grounds, there are almost no boulders or fines in the grounds, in the ground coffee. It is very even. The grind knocker here at the end is a feature that quite frankly makes me feel better than it actually works. In the roastery, we have grind knockers on all of our bulk grinders that I use obsessively. So I'm always reaching for that when I'm done grinding. To have it on my home grinder as well, just makes me feel good about it. I don't know why. That said, I have noticed a couple of times, even after I've ground the coffee and knocked it with the grind knocker, if I dump a little bit more coffee in the hopper again, I might get some remaining grounds fall out of the grinder on the bottom. Again, the only time I'd really be concerned about that is if I was setting up for a coffee cupping session. But then again, that's why you purge the grinder when you're cupping. It shouldn't be an issue. I do really like the magnetic positioning of the grounds bin. That is kind of cool. It just makes me happy and feels good. I am not 100% sure about the value of the measuring markings on the inside, but then again, I'm a nerd who measures by weight all the time. Overall, I am really enjoying this grinder. The first day I used it, Krista tasted her coffee and said, "Oh wow, that really makes a difference." So there's proof. Plus, it just looks clutch sitting on my counter with a Chemex and a Stagg EKG kettle. Really nice. Is it worth the $299 price tag? I think that's something you have to decide for yourself. My opinion, this is a treat yourself product, just like many of the products that Fellow makes. Is it going to up your coffee game? Yeah. Can you get a good grinder for home that are just as good, if not better? Also, yeah. Do I enjoy making my coffee at home enough to justify the price? In my case, yeah. So let me know your thoughts. Do you have the Fellow Ode Brew Grinder? Did you get it with the Kickstarter? Are there differences? Do you like it? Do you have questions about this one? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, keep serving coffee people love.